So you can see all the roots. The guys have been axing through all these roots. So many roots through here. Look at the amount of roots. All of this is just, I don't know if you can pick this up, but it's just roots on top of roots on top of roots. It's just absolutely solid, full of roots through here. 50 feet to either side of a tree that size, you're going to have roots. So we're going to show you what we do in a case like this. All right, we got this tree right here. I hate that. So that's why we're putting in the fabric that discourages root growth. It's going to push the roots away. So we got a good root barrier. You can see that we got a lot of root being this close to the tree. So that's why we're spending the money to do that. So this first catch basin has just got caps on one end and 2 female couplers on the other. And this is how we're going to start things out, because there's a low spot right here. I'm not worried about the tree roots. The tree roots aren't going to be a problem. Not after we put that root barrier in there. By the trees here, we're going to use a non-woven geotextile filter fabric that has, you can see it, inside there's 2 layers of felt. You got a layer of felt on each side. You can see there's a layer of copper inside. This is going to keep the roots away. Very expensive fabric, but all this is for nothing if the trees take it over. The first thing that you notice when you're working with this non-woven geotextile filter fabric that has copper in it, it's like working with a sheet of tin. When you go to put it in, it's not like working with a blanket. Normally, our non-woven geotextile filter fabric is like working with a blanket. This is like working with a sheet of tin. You have to roll it out, and then you have to form it to the trench. It takes a little more time to install for sure. This is the #1 root barrier on the market. This is a godsend. I have waited my whole career for such a product. I'm so happy that it's available. It's not cheap, but if you're spending a lot of money to put a drain system in and you got to go buy a tree, it's all for nothing if you don't do something to keep those roots at bay. As a general rule, look up at the canopy on the tree. However far the canopy is coming out away from the trunk, that's how far the roots are going to be coming out. You want a good root blocker. We have 3 lines of defense against a tree like this. We got copper sulfate, we have a copper sock, and we have copper non-woven geotextile filter fabric. The copper sulfate should be put in no matter what you're using, because you want one initial application of copper sulfate. That'll start pushing the roots away immediately. The copper product, the pure 100% copper in the non-woven geotextile filter fabric, and the 100% pure copper that's in our copper sock, they work over time. When the copper leaches slowly into the subsoil, it works better and better as time goes on. So 1 copper sulfate treatment initially, and then you're done if you're using a copper product, a copper metal product. Look at how it's like a sheet of tin. Look at that. Stiff. It's different to work with for sure. You can see how Patrick is going to form this non-woven geotextile filter fabric with copper in the center of it. He's going to form it to the trench. He's got to walk it down, push the corners in. He's got to get it even on both ends. Both sides have to be even. And then he takes the fabric pins to hold it in place. It's a little more time consuming to install, but it's a fantastic product. There's absolutely nothing better on the market to keep roots away. This hasn't always been available to us. We've had a couple of years to test it, and we can stand behind this and 100% guarantee it keeps the roots away. It pushes them away. It works better and better the longer that it's in. Because we have this root barrier in the trench, I don't have to worry about leaving water behind. Let me show you what we got. We got some pea stone in the bottom of the trench now. We got a root barrier for filter fabric in all the potholes. We have one of our 6-inch 4-way connect catch basins with all female couplers. The guys love the female couplers. Little bit of pea stone at the bottom. You guys got a couple inches of pea stone at the bottom. I don't have to worry about tree roots getting in this because I use a root barrier that's going to push those roots away. I cut a lot of trees down that were near the buildings. I don't believe in having trees near the buildings. The damage they do to the foundations, let alone the drain system, it's just not worth it to me. Quite frankly, I don't need the stress of one of these big trees blowing on the house either. But back here, I love these big trees, very park-like. I want to keep them. And these are aggressive too. That's a silver maple. It grows really, really fast. And its roots are really bad. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put a drain fabric in here. I'd never build this system without a drain fabric, but we're going to build a drain fabric, and we're going to be using a drain fabric that has root barrier. So look at this beautiful trench. Unfortunately, there's these roots, and I don't want these roots to ruin the system. Sure that this root barrier keeps repelling the roots, because that's what it does. It keeps pushing the roots further and further away. Every year the roots will be pushed further away. That's how good this works. So after a couple of years, there won't even be any little threads in the French drain system. But since I'm putting pea stone under my pipe to allow for some of the sediment that's going to find its way through this non-woven filter fabric that has this root barrier in it, I wanted to show you this up close. I have some scrap from the job site, just, you know, pieces. They'll serve as good samples, but you can see the copper sandwiched in that non-woven geotextile filter fabric. Pretty impressive. This is the #1 product available for keeping roots out of your drainage system. I can't think of anything that's better. Now, copper sulfate, I would treat your trench with copper sulfate, because this is going to take a little time for this copper to actually start leaching into the subsoil and doing what it does. Copper sulfate in a liquid form, you know, when you take the powder and shake it up. I've done videos on that. By the time that dissipates and is no longer, you know, working for you, this will start working. Look at this. And then you never, ever have to do any maintenance ever again. Look at that. You can see the copper. This is very, very impressive. This was cut with a box knife, and these are scraps. So I just wanted to give you guys, you know, an up close and personal view. Look at that. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing product. How lucky are we to have this? You know, I wish I had this my whole career. So, you know, these are trade secrets. We're basically trying to make products available to the homeowner and young contractor so that they have success. Look at this. I love this product. So this is the #1 product. This would be my first recommendation. Now, if you can't afford this, without a doubt, use our copper sock. Definitely way more affordable to put a copper sock in the trench. And we'll be doing tons of videos for you on that. And also, that's going to be available too in our online store. You can find our copper sock. If you like the products that we're making available to the DIYer and the contractor, give us a thumbs up. It supports what we're doing. I'm your host, Robert Sherwood, and until the next video.